We Santo Man Kolnyang Mike Cholgrangawan Yupit Luping Yarul Pandiri Shet Maniel Anaketon Niel Jilo Wenetona Dol I think a kick Kega Buka Devoye Anyalinya dia Kuika Tingrin Jemanalie when I Jangarong Ajedu Kega Parami Madina Maja Kubo Makur Kega Bolikan Kuai Tatian Wagaridin Kegela Emmanuel when you go to your I think a kick Kega Buka Devoye Anyalinya dia Kuika Tingrin Jemanalie when I Jangarong Ajedu Kega Parami Madina Maja Kubo Makur Kega Bolikan Kuai Tatian Wagaridin Kegela Emmanuel when a man you go to your I think a kick Kega Buka Devoye Anyalinya dia Kuika Tingrin
Yeah, thank you so much to our viewers. Welcome to Lagos State Media Beyond Boundaries on this 31st day of January 2023. And in the studio with us is Mr. Ayuel Tauping Malek, the acting chairperson of SPLM Kenyan chapter. Mr. Ayuel will articulate some of the issues that actually confusing the South Sudanese or the members of SPLM party, for that matter, in Kenya. And he will also be in a position to clarify some of the questions that we will pose to him in the due course of our interaction. One request to our viewers, if you are watching us now live, kindly share this live show on your Facebook wall so that other South Sudanese or other members of SPLM rather will get to hear from Mr. Ayuel Tauping. Mr. Ayuel Tauping, welcome to Lagos State Media Beyond Boundaries. And the chance is yours to give us your opening remark before we dive into our conversation. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, and also good afternoon to all the viewers of Lagos State in Africa, in the other part of the world. As you have heard from Comrade Majok, of course, the spirit of our party is always possessed in us, so we refer to people we are talking to as comrade. So for now, I don't know your party. I may not know your subscription in terms of which party, but allow me to refer you as comrade, because at some point also we started together. And I want to say I'm very much happy and grateful to have been invited to Lagos State Media to clarify, as you put it, clarify some of the issues or some of the letters going around on social media. So I'm very much happy and I'm grateful also to be with you. And I think I would be happy also to see comments or questions coming from the viewers. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Comrade Ayuel. Actually, the word comrades, when I was in Juba 2021, and I took a bodaboda from custom heading to Juba town, and I told somebody to take me to Comrade restaurant. There is another restaurant called Comrade. And the guy took me to the SPLM chapter, SPLM house, rather. Then the bodaboda went and put me there, and I asked him, "What are you doing, bro?" And he told me that, "You told me to bring you to the Comrade." I told him, "Is this the Comrade?" The guy was like, "Of course, that's what we know." Yeah, actually, the term comrades, as really many people perceive it to be like the SPLM party terminology. But that is just an English word that you can refer your colleague or your age mate or somebody that you have studied one thing or your workmate as comrade. Yeah, thank you for that. And thank you for your remark. Now, Mr. Ayuel, Lake State Media has received a lot of information and lot of letters, rather, from different sources. And all these letters contain the name SPLM Party. And all of them, around 4 letters or 5, all of them are speaking in reorganization of SPLM-Kenya chapter. As you may well aware, since we were there in Kenya, SPLM chapter was dormant and was passive. And it was reactivated, I think 3 years ago, in 2018 or 2019. And seeing the reorganization of SPLM as a ruling party in our country, it has really invoked the whole chapters across the world. Wherever the members of SPLM party are, everyone is trying to organize their chapter so that they can also align themselves with the leadership of SPLM in Juba. Kindly, can you tell us what is happening with the Kenya SPLM chapter? Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Majok. First, before I go into the issue of SPLM chapter in Kenya, allow me to use this platform to also congratulate the head of National Secretariat of External Affairs, which is actually the boss of all the chapters in the diaspora, Comrade Bol Makwang. Because in your remarks, you mentioned that all the chapters have been revived and they are reorganizing themselves. And this is as a result of that comrade who committed himself to make sure all the chapters are active and they are doing what is required of them. So I would like to thank and congratulate him for taking this task to organize all the chapters in the diaspora. Last year, you have seen most of the chapters being reorganized, starting with the one in Egypt and Middle East. We have also seen the Uganda revive. We have also seen the Australia and US plus Canada. You are right to say Kenyan chapter was at some point not very active, especially the time you and I were schooling in Kenya. And 2016, it was around 2016 when Comrade Deputy Chairman Gerald Waniga came to Kenya and reorganized the chapter. And later on, that meeting resulted into the appointment of Comrade Nul Mayan. After his appointment, the SPLM chapter was active for a few months. Then, I don't want to use the words that our opponent may grab to use against us, but it went silent for a short time until 2018, when Comrade Deng Taj Moyuen was affirmed by headquarters as a chairman of SPLM chapter in Kenya. Until then, SPLM was still active, and all of us only could remember the day of swearing in. And in 2019, we had issues, and some of the issues we had are issues related to leadership, because we members of SPLM felt like the then team was not representing our party well. And you and I know also, in 2019, there was political wrangles in Kenya, especially among South Sudanese, because that was a year Malong Awan party was organizing itself and also trying its best to occupy the South Sudanese to be the dominant party among South Sudanese in Kenya. And that was also a year we saw some group from the member from Malong camp calling themselves Red Card Movement coming into play. And that was the only time now we begin to question some of our leaders in regards to how they were handling political activities, because we could meet at some forum with some of the leaders from other political camp, and we were not amused by how our leadership of the chapter led by Deng Taj was responding to some of the claims being leveled against the SPLM, which is perceived generally as a party who has not actually perceived it is a party that has formed the government. But despite some individual having idea that SPLM has formed government, but there are also other parties within, they still attribute all the failures of the government, failures that has involved government, to be one engineered by the SPLM. So to us, members of SPLM, we thought that was an opportunity for the SPLM chapter to be able to correct the false information being spread by those who left the government. So that is where we started. And from that point, one time, our president, who is the chairman of SPLM, was coming for a state visit to Kenya. And we had organized ourselves to go and welcome, because I had differed with the then leadership led by Deng Taj on many occasions that SPLM is a ruling party. It has its ability to mobilize its resources. It also has a constitution that articulates how the management and also how to mobilize resources. Therefore, to me, what we differed on was how the running of the affairs of the party. So maybe because I'm taking too much time, I would want to say we just disagreed on the running of the affairs of the party with Comrade Deng Taj, which resulted to the suspension of SPLM chapter. On 5th of October 2022, I was appointed as the acting chairperson of SPLM chapter in Kenya. And I was appointed to act on behalf of Comrade Geu Madid, whom from 2019 we had been doing voluntarily work for the party. We have been organizing our members. Geu was literally acting, was representing SPLM without official appointment, until later on in Juba, Comrade Bol Makwang felt it is important we appoint him as an interim chair. So by the time I went to Juba, I found already Comrade Geu was appointed as the acting chair, and only went there for me to be posted or for me to be assigned as an acting chairperson. Now, what caused confusion is not actually the letter itself, but I have been very clear about it, that when you appoint someone, like Comrade Geu Madid being appointed as a chair, as the interim chair, you can only appoint another person by ensuring that you relieve the first person. And that has been the issue. So I saw the letter of appointment of Comrade Panyar, which I have not received official communication that he has been appointed, because as you understand, those of Deng Taj, Comrade Deng Taj, the previous leadership, who had the leadership with them, are still holding into it. They don't want Geu to be the chair of the party. So the appointment of Comrade Panyar on top of appointment of Comrade Geu is what is causing confusion. However, we have communicated in the right channel not the way we saw it on social media, that what has happened need to be revised, and we are waiting for the feedback.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Ayuel, for the explanation of the entire story behind the reestablishment of the SPLM Kenya chapter. Let me pick up from your appointment. As you put it rightly, according to the documents we have on our desk as Lagos State Media, you were appointed on the 5th of October 2022, and you were appointed as acting chairperson, and you put it rightly. Thereafter, you said Mr. Panyar or Comrade Panyar Samuel was appointed without you being served with a notice or a letter of appointment. And according to his appointment letter, Panyar was appointed this month on 19th January 2023 from the headquarters by the External Relations Secretary, Bol Makwang, in Juba. On the same note, George Abraham Madud addressed a letter dated on 23rd January 2023 to you as the acting chairman, and that reference was handing over to the appointed chairman of the SPLM chapter, which the letter referred to Samuel Panyaragok. Now you were appointed as the acting chairperson, and the SPLM National Secretariat sat down and appointed the chairperson of Kenya chapter. Where do you think confusion is here? The same appointing authority that appointed you indicated you were acting, of course, and now somebody came in through the same appointment or through the same authorities. Where is the confusion here, Mr. Ayuel?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to correct, I was not appointed. I was assigned as the acting chair of the SPLM chapter in Kenya. The confusion come in as I talk about the disagreement in 2019. And you see what it is normal process, and it is upon the Secretary of External Affairs to appoint the person he deemed fit to hold that position, to do the party activities. But you see, let us also get this one very fundamental. I have not seriously complained, although I believe I still have a hope that the thing will be corrected, because that is the only way we can do it. I was assigned as the acting chairperson to replace, to act on behalf of interim chairperson, Comrade Geo Madit. And it is only right that you relieve Comrade Geo Madit so that eventually I go with him. You don't tell me I was acting on behalf of Geo and then you appoint another person. So, and also what makes it more difficult is profiling members after they have served the party, and after also they try everything within their capacity to make sure the party works in the Kenya, in Kenya area or in Kenya diaspora. You see what happened, SPLM, the reason why it was dormant is because it has been for many times handed over to people who don't understand their work. Like, for instance, it is actually the group that went and confused Comrade Bol Makwang by profiling other members are the one who engineered all these things, this appointment, so that one of their own can come and take SPLM into dormancy the way they did previously. So Comrade Geo Madid is the acting chairperson, and if there is any replacement, it should be replaced. It should be replaced and then appoint another person. However, the reason why, even at some point, I had not believed those letters until some sources, although I have not yet communicated to them, verified that this letter actually emanates from the office of the external secretary. But what happened, you see, some people are already celebrating this appointment. And who are those people? These are the people who made SPLM not vibrant in 2019. Because let's face it, I was a student leader in 2019, from 2018 to 2019. And we could have a forum where we meet with opposition members, and the other leadership led by Deng Tai could also come there, and all of us are given a platform to address the audience. Comrade Sande De Jong, who was by then the spokesperson of Malong, right now I don't know, he has his own party or still the same party, could come and attack the SPLM. He could come and attack the party. And when the Comrade Deng Tai comes in, he would clearly say that I have not been authorized to respond. Surely, Comrade Majok, is there someone who can authorize you to go and respond? Because so that you can Comrade Bol Makwang say, you, how will he know that there is a function going on and this is what will be said? And if people say this, you go and respond. This is what we didn't like. So I used to volunteer from my position, from SAC, to come and even try to correct things which were not being said correctly. And this is where we differ. And after they realized, now we will go, Madid and myself, we have given leadership. They went behind the back, behind the doors, to make sure they profile somebody like me to be from a different party. You see, that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. So if the appointment was genuinely from Comrade Bol Makwang, we would not have any issue. Second, our main mission as SPLM diaspora is to make sure we do what was mandated to us. We were not mandated by a specific office, but by the constitution of SPLM. SPLM constitution talks about how we can organize our members and mobilize them so that they become legally our members of the party. So in an event we have any party election or any election in future, we will have our members voting for our party. That's the major task of all the SPLM. So it shouldn't be another member from the party is profiling another one to be from a different party. If we were all contented with the current members we have, I believe we will not be organizing ourselves. It is because we want more people to come to our side. That's why we are organizing ourselves. So my main mission was to come and even mobilize those who are against us to be members of SPLM. So it beat logic when somebody goes behind and say this person is not our member. Second, Comrade Panyar is not a resident of Kenya. He is the director of the staff club in Juba. And that is why I'm saying they went and confused the good comrade, Bol Makwang, to listen to their rumors and propaganda. You know, that is where the problem is. So my question is, I have been asked, I have been appointed as the acting chairperson. The other group are calling themselves acting. They have also their own acting chairperson. I'm here given a letter of acting. Now, when the letter is being addressed, some members from the previous group took it and upon themselves and said, we are the one handing over this office. So now people in Kenya are confused. Which one is a legit leadership? Because there is the one guy who wrote a letter, a very long letter to headquarters, complaining that the person assigned the person assigned to SPLM in Kenya is not our member. Now he's calling himself a legitimate acting chairperson. So people in Nairobi are confused which one to believe. But as far as I'm concerned, we are not confused because we were given a letter and we were tasked to come and do the work of the party. And we are doing the work of the party. Remember, Comrade Majo, we in the diaspora, we are not campaigning for members of parliament. We are not campaigning for member governors. We are not campaigning for women rep. We are not campaigning for other elected seats, except we are campaigning for the presidency. That is where our focus is. So as we mobilize our people, we are mobilizing them to support or to rally them behind our presidential flag bearer, which was confirmed last year, 2022, for in the meeting of National SPLM National Liberation Council. So if we are doing our work, we are also requesting other members not to profile each other. Let us do our work together, and let us make sure we appoint the right people to the position, so that they also deliver the work of the party.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Ayuel. There are three things here that you need to make them clear and straight to our viewers. The first one, you said people of Kenya, especially South Sudanese or SPLM members, are confused which one among two groups, Comrade Deng Taj leadership and your leadership. Which one is legitimate body? And according to the letter which was addressed to you by the person actually who appointed you, the Director for External Relations, which is Acting Director for External Relations, George Abraham Madud, that the handing over should be done to the appointed chairperson of the chapter, which is Samuel Panyar Agok. You need to make that one clear. Now you are saying the letter, you are questioning the authenticity of the letter. Can you make it clear? Do you believe this letter was forged somewhere and is not genuinely from the National Secretariat? That's one. Number two, you said Panyar is not Kenya resident. Are you a Kenya resident? You need to make that clear, because many of you, according to many people understanding, you went to Kenya for the purpose of education. And if somebody came also to study, then you need to tell us more about that person. If you said he's not a resident of Kenya. So you need to make those one clear. And the last one is, do you believe, are you the acting chairperson of the SPLM chapter now in Kenya? Thank you. Before we move to the further questions.
The first question you asked is that if the person who appointed me is the one who has authored that letter. Is that the question?
Yes, according to your remark before, you were saying that the letter does not meet the criterions. So we mean you're questioning the legality of the documents. That's why I'm asking.
This is what I say. Yes.
You still have doubt about the letter which was written by the same person who assigned you, which is George Abraham Madud. Thank you.
Okay. At first, I told you, at first I doubted the authenticity of that document. But later on, after verifying it, or after investigating where the letter emanated from, because I had not talked to Comrade George, nor did I talk to Comrade Paul Makwem. I some point noticed from a classified source that the document really emanates from their office, and that's why we are talking about it today. So the letter, in my view, are legit. But you see, there is this thing also which need to be very clear. On 21st of December 2022, someone by name Majur wrote a letter, a long article, or I call it what? He had his own letterhead. He went and forged his own stamp and wrote to Juba complaining about me being appointed as a non-member. You get that point? And then now that letter had a stamp. My other document, which I used to write to the office, also had a stamp. So nobody from the headquarters acknowledged the recipient of the two, whether they had responded to him or not. But according to the information I'm hearing, even from the people who drafted the first letter of complaint, they had actually confirmed that the comrade secretary general was acting on their letter. That's why I begin to doubt, because I was issued the same letter. And for your information, I was not appointed by Comrade George. In that letter, the way he crafted it, said I was directed by External Affairs Secretary to assign you as the acting chairperson in Kenya. So he's acting on behalf of his boss. He is not the one who appointed me. He was acting on behalf of his boss. However, the question here, we members of SPLM, we believe we are doing anything within our capacity to make sure SPLM as a party realize our contribution. That's our major role. So I don't doubt that the letters do not come from their office. They come, but they were misinformed by the same group who wrote a letter on December 21st. These are the same group confusing them, and I believe it's because we have not yet even. I have not been sent an official complaint that this is what is happening, and you need to clarify. So I was not given an opportunity to clarify. But they are celebrating that the SPLM Secretary of External Affairs has officially confirmed that I'm a non-member. But that is what I am saying, Comrade Majok, that SPLM has a constitution, and all of us has a ways of subscribing to become a party members. And that one, I have followed it. And that is how I first made it to be appointed or to be assigned as a chapter chairperson. That was the first question. Can you remind me the second question?
Yeah, thank you. The second question was, do you believe you are still the acting chairperson of SPLM Chapter Kenya, or you still have other thoughts?
Yes, I'm the acting chairperson of SPLM chapter in Kenya until the appointment of another person is made, and until I hand over the office to the person who is appointed by the headquarters. But you see, we cannot also hand over to somebody who is not a resident of Kenya. You ask me if I'm a resident of Kenya. I have a school here, Comrade Majok. I started my undergraduate in this country. I've also recently enrolled for my master's in this country. Comrade Panyar is not a resident because he comes to do a short course. That one does not make you a resident of this country. I'm a resident because I'm doing a course that will take me probably a year or 2 years. That is why I'm calling myself a resident. But he came lastly to come and enroll in East Africa School of Aviation. You and I know, because we have been in SAC together, that East Africa School of Aviation offered professional courses. In short, I would say they offer professional courses that can last for 3 to 6 months. That one cannot make you a resident to execute the mandate of SPLM. That's why we are saying, and we are making our comrade to understand that Nairobi is very confiscated place to be managed by somebody who comes on a short visit and goes back when the school closed. So we are doing it in a good faith. Although I know majority of those we lead believe that SPLM should have a strong members in this country. So in our view, Comrade Panyar still is a member of SPLM and is doing his part in Juba, and members who are here also should be allowed to do their part so that they actually mobilize people they know, because it is impossible to go to school and then start moving to all the region in Kenya, and then after 3 months you go back to the country and expect to execute the mandate of the party. It is almost impossible. So we are not rejecting his appointment. We are saying he is not a resident of this country.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Ayuel. That is a clear explanation of why you think Panyar is not a resident. You have explained it in details, but you said earlier that you are still the acting chairperson. But according to the documents which were sent to you as a Kenya chapter from the National Secretariat, I think the document followed the sequence and how things should be handled. You were assigned as the acting chair until further notice, according to the letter. And that further notice arrived to the conclusions of appointing Panyar Agog as the chairperson of SPLM chapter, and they serve you with the letters, including the letter of handing over. The confusion is here. You were saying that unless the main secretariat suspend or maybe expel Gaumadit, that is where you will go with him. And
No.
if not, then the appointment of somebody which was appointed without relieving Geu, rather relieve, that is the right term, relieve Geu, then you will not go. That's what you said earlier. Are you saying that you are acting on behalf of Geu? Is Geu the one who directs you that don't accept any letter coming from Juba assigning or appointing a new person? If not, then what does the constitution of SPLM say? If you have a guiding documents as a chapter, what does it say when it comes to the issues of being residents, and how long has you been in Kenya? Have you been in Kenya rather? Thank you.
Thank you. You see, the most fundamental thing, which I think we both missed at the introduction phase, was that, you know, the SPLM constitution plus the diaspora guideline stipulate who becomes in the leadership of the SPLM diaspora. The guideline of SPLM diaspora clearly stated that you appoint the resident of that country. So it is only that when you appoint a resident of Kenya, of a person residing in Kenya to be the chair or to act on behalf of SPLM, is when it can make sense. Otherwise, appointing somebody who come for a visit is against the diaspora guideline. So on top of what I was correcting are administrative mistake that has happened, because when they addressed to Comrade Gale, they have not relieved them. And was his deputy, if you can recall in the letter. The rationale is by the time you are appointing, you can dismiss that person, and then so that now it is not a double appointment, because they had not initially removed Gale. They had just assigned me on presumption that he is residing in Juba or he is in Juba. So when he's absent, I would be acting on his behalf. Now that he is not here and he's not in Kenya, there should have been a communication that Gale has been removed, has been relieved actually officially, and that now we are appointing another person. That is administrative mistake that has happened, which I believe will be corrected. However, our main issue, I talk about Comrade Panyar being a resident of Juba. In fact, New Side Club. He's the director of New Side Staff Club. We cannot appoint him to be in Kenya. In the same constitution, remember, Comrade Secretary of External Affairs is mandated by the SPLM constitution to organize the chapters. In his organization, he can choose who he deems fit will do the work of the party. And in that, he can also organize election. And that's why in the letter of Comrade Panyar, he has clearly mentioned one of the issue of being election. So I would say clearly that if Comrade Panyar was a resident of Kenya, we would not have any issue. He is not a resident of Nairobi. And also, I don't want to use this platform to mention mistake that has happened, because you know it is always right. You don't discuss or you don't.
Thank you, Mr. Ayuel. Yeah, actually, your point is now beginning to be clear. You are saying until the National Secretariat relieve Gaumadit, that's where you will step aside and then you will hand over officially to Panyar Agog. Is that true? Or is that correct, rather?
To resident of Kenya. if Panyar become a resident of Kenya, I will not have problem.
Basically, you did not recognize Panyar appointment, right?
Yes, because he's a director of Staff Club in New Side.
Okay. Now, Panyar and you were appointed by the same authorities. Where did you drive your power to reject his appointment? Under which constitution do you drive your powers? Under which article? Yet the same appointing authority of the SPLM National Secretariat appointed you or assigned you first, and afterward they appoint the chairperson of the chapter, and you are rejecting his appointment. Why?
I'm not rejecting his appointment. I was mentioning the thing that ought to have been followed. Second, I am saying, and I still repeat, Comrade Panyar is a resident of Juba. And the diaspora guideline clearly stipulate who become the representative of SPLM in the diaspora, which in that article, Comrade Panyar does not fit in that bill. So it would be injustice to SPLM as a party to appoint somebody who is not even familiar with the environment, somebody who comes for a visit. And if our goal is indeed to make sure the SPLM party become vibrant in Nairobi, we should not appoint somebody from outside. We have other people around who are vibrant and who can do the work of the party. And these people can do this work. It's not necessarily Comrade Panyar, who is a resident of Juba. In any event, I am not saying I have power to reject. I am just airing out things that have not been done correctly. And for that reason, I'm saying the best way things should have been done is this way. Second, the letter you said has been addressed to me is being claimed by another group who wrote and stamped. So no, who is sure now who is being addressed to that letter? That letter was written by Comrade George Abraham, and later on it emerges on social media being claimed by the group who wrote the first letter on 21st. So clearly, unless it is clarified who it is addressed to, because when I was appointed and when Comrade Geu was being given a mandate to when he was being on his behalf, clearly they wrote his full name and they address him as the interim chairperson. So on the same note, I would have expected if they are addressing me, they would have addressed to me. Now the whole confusion comes when the name are not being mentioned and the other group are claiming. You see, and this is something we should not expect in a political party, and particularly the ruling party.
Thank you. According to the letter we received as Lagos State Media, the letter dated on 25th January 2023. And the letter was addressed to Ambassador of South Sudan to Kenya, Chol Maut Ajong. And the reference was lifting of suspension of SPLM chapter activities in Kenya. Honorable Ambassador, 3 years ago, I'm reading the letter. I wrote to suspend the SPLM chapter activities in Kenya due to lack of cooperation between the chapter members and the staff of South Sudan Embassy in Kenya. Take note of that. Lack of cooperation between the chapter's members and the staff of South Sudan Embassy in Kenya. Following the recent appointments of Comrade Samuel Panyara Gog as the chairperson or the chairman of the SPLM chapter in Kenya, I write to introduce him to you for the mutual cooperation and coordination in the interest of the SPLM and South Sudan. Please accept my assurance of my highest comradeship. Regards. Signed, Comrade Bolmakweng, Secretary for External Relations, SPLM. CC, the Secretary General of the SPLM Party. According to this letter, Mr. Ayuel, It has reached to the extent of also informing the embassy in regard to the appointments of Samuel Panyar. And your issues, according to my understanding, are two. One, and these are administrative errors. You put them correctly, that these are administrative mistakes of which can be addressed and they can happen anytime. The first thing, they appointed Samuel Panyar before they relieved Go, which was your chairperson and you were deputy by then before you became acting chairperson on his behalf, which was administrative error. The second mistake, which you said, but we don't have copy of your constitution or guideline as SPLM party, is that anybody who is not a resident of that country in diaspora should not be entitled to lead in that country. Due to the complexity of Nairobi, and also Kenya is becoming a political hub for all South Sudanese political parties. They always write to East Africa. So maybe the SPLM seem it fit that they should have vibrant youth that can mobilize and sell their manifesto while we are moving toward the election. These are the only issues that you actually articulate. But let's move to the second before we move to the last question. Mr. Ayuel, is it possible? Is it possible for you to hand over the leadership, recognize Samuel as appointed by the office, and then you go back to the secretariat or to the leadership of SPLM and remind them about the clause or article that is stated if you are not a resident of this particular country, then you should not be appointed, to address them administratively instead of creating confusion within your own party that you people love so much. Thank you.
Thank you. You read to me a letter which I have not come across. So I will not comment on something I have not seen. You are reading it to me. But in any case, if that letter was truly written to Ambassador, lifting the political activities in which was imposed in 2019. Now, Comrade Majok, what was and you read for me before the letter of appointment assigning me as the acting chairperson. So what was I doing in the period of October to now until January? What was I doing? Was I acting in an area or in political atmosphere which was already sanctioned by the Secretariat? You see, those are things I don't want to comment on it because, as I said earlier, there are people doing this work, and I don't want to go emotional by mentioning their names, but there are groups deliberately doing this thing in sequence, and that's why you could see this one. Even the letter of appointment of Comrade Panyar was crafted in a unique manner. In the first place, there is no appointment that says this is your mandate, because your mandate is in the constitution and in the diaspora guideline. And given that letter now, it shows that even the Secretariat disowned the letter they have appointed me. They have appointed me as the acting chairperson. They disown it by telling Ambassador this is the first time they are lifting. So what is the validity? What is the validity of the letter now directing me to hand over the office? You see, those are the questions, and I don't want to use this platform to address those questions here. These are the questions I will ask when the right time comes, and we will do them administratively. And until I get the communication, because if they believe I have an office which they assign me to, they will still reach out to me to make sure the issue is addressed, because it will not end up on social media. So far, all the letters I'm seeing, they are coming to me through social media, WhatsApp group, different WhatsApp group, and particularly the Lagos State Youth Consultative WhatsApp group in Kenya. That's where they emanate from. And that's why in the beginning I was saying, at some point I doubted these letters were coming from Comrade Bol Makwen, because there are things flow. You know, political SPLM, any South Sudanese volunteer or any member in any society, you volunteer to be a member of that party. You are not being paid by being a member of that party. You volunteer out of your consciousness that this party fits what my desire is. And that's how we become members of this party. And then you look at the constitution, how do you become the member of this political party? And that's what somebody like me did. So if there are supposed to be rationale, or if there are supposed to be changes happening, it shouldn't just happen on WhatsApp group, because I haven't received any communication from them. I'm just seeing them from a group who call themselves acting team. So in actual sense, right now, as we speak, they are preparing themselves to hand over the office from their side to them. Now I would be left asking myself, the item I was given from Juba, I would hand them over to who? And there's no communication. So those are things that create this misunderstanding. But I do believe they will be corrected, despite the letters you are reading to me. They will be corrected. I haven't come across the letter you wrote, but I will find time to see also where I can access that letter.
Thank you, Comrade Ayuel. If you don't mind, I can also serve you with the copy of this letter, which was addressed to Ambassador of South Sudan to Kenya. Our second last questions, there were allegations that Comrade Ayuel was not, or is not even a member or legitimate member of SPLM party. The allegation went as far as detailing that you joined SAF as South Sudan United Front, Stock Army of Gerald Malong Awan. Kindly, can you clarify those allegations? Because that could be the ground for members saying that we don't need intruder to come into our affairs. Maybe just coming to collect the information and return back to his political party. Kindly, can you let the public know, are you a member of SAP or you are a member of SPLM? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I've been anticipating that question, because this is the rumors that is spilling all over Nairobi and Juba. You see, Comrade Majoga was elected as a SAC president in 2018 on date 18 February. Until then, I was doing my work. And you and I knows very well the role of the SPLM, the role of South Sudanese Student Association in Kenya. When I was elected, I was sworn in March. And within April, the Student Council, South Sudanese Student Council, sat down and mandated us to call the members to hold on. Within April, we had scheduled a meeting with the South Sudanese student body, which is like the council, it's like the parliament. Within this, they had approved number of our proposals. One of them being the mentorship program. Mentorship program, we called the leaders across political divide in South Sudan, from members of opposition and members of government. And in that meeting, we had actually even extended our invitation to His Excellency Ambassador Chola Jongo Maud. We had also invited Dr. Majanga God. We had invited Honorable Kim Guy, the member of East Africa, a member of parliament in East Africa. We had also invited other political players, including Gerald Paul Malong. And that time is when he had recently left Juba to Nairobi after he was given permission by the chairman to come to Kenya. And I had invited them even before he formed his political party. So if you can recall very well, we had a meeting at 680 on the 12th of May, 2018. And that was a purely mentorship program for students to also get the views of government and opposition. And I was doing my job as a South Sudanese student leader. You cannot turn around, because I know these people who are doing it are just people who don't understand their role. Majority of them are not even in a position even to explain what a certain role means. because in 2018, I invited all these leaders upon the request from a student and also as somebody who was doing my job. You cannot turn around and victimize me for doing my job because the role of a student union is different from a political party. How could I also have joined a party that did not exist in 2018? I mean, before May 2018. So those are just malicious allegations from people who like to profile others so that they can thrive. I am not into that business. I don't even describe others. I have never, and in any case, 2019, I was public about it. Me and myself went head to head with the rebel leader Gerald Paul Malong. If I was his member, how come I was fighting him on social media? And when he put his members into RCM, how come I was fighting them? You had the Voice of America, who was being mentioned there as somebody who was chasing them away from the venue. I was telling them, basically, you go and protest in the country. So these people, because they fail on their mandates, the leadership of SPLM, they fail on their mandate to help the government address the issues. They turn around now to say this person is not a member of this political party. And in any case, the chapter, I have the SPLM constitution with me, chapter 3, party membership, clearly articulate how you become a member of this party. And I am a registered member. In fact, my first registration in SPLM was in 2012, because that was the time now I registered in Juba. So I don't know to what extent someone would have a gut to say this person belongs to a certain party. Those are just malicious, and I know these are people who don't know what they are doing. Some of them are just actually Nairobi beggars. They only go to different hotels to beg from people, from politicians, so that they are given something. And these are the kind of words they use to describe others so that they get their daily benefits. I don't do that business. I don't meet people, even when I was a leader of South Sudanese. I don't do that business. I don't sit down and say this person belongs to a certain party. It is a voluntarily activity for you to join a political party. You don't need to be told by somebody else. No one can describe me better than the way I do. It is only me who can pronounce that I'm a member of this party, or someone else can testify that I'm a member of this party. So those are just malicious allegations, and I don't believe they mean well for the party. If they really mean well, they could have looked for ways of convincing even those who are not in SPLM to come to SPLM, not to profile the members into different political parties. I'm mature enough to announce my political affiliation.
Thank you so much, Comrade Ayuel Tauping Malek, for answering and disputing such allegation. Basically, as a student leader, you don't subscribe to any political party, because all students in Kenya don't belong to one political party. And you said you were doing your duties as a student leader, but and you also narrated the event that brought you together with the like of General Paul Malong. But
and
the
also
last
that
question
event did
before
not go on. It was cancelled. It was cancelled later on, and we did not do it again. It was cancelled.
All right. Before I yield it back to my brother behind the scenes, Abraham Adit, to display some of the question, I really need you to brief me and some of SAC alumni online who are watching now, that where is SAC now? As a SAC alumni, I always feel like I don't see SAC vibrant and active as it was supposed to be. Where is SAC? Because you are immediate chairperson or the former chairperson of SAC, or president rather. Just a question, just want you to shed more light on that before we move to comment section and clubhouse.
I don't want to misrepresent the institution I lead now. So I was a SAC leader by then, and you said clearly I'm a former chairman. So it would be an injustice to go and speak on behalf of those who are leading SAC now. So I would pass that question.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Abraham Adit, if there are questions on the comment section, you can display them. Yeah, we have question here from brother Bom. How do you guys appoint the chairman of the SPLM-Kenya chapter? Do you go through elections, or you have a certain person or people who can appoint the chairperson? Yeah, that question is all about criteria that you normally use at the SPLM party. So you will comment on that. And if there is another questions, Abraham Adit, you can display it. And if not, let me remind Comrade Ayuel Tauping that the chairperson of SPLM United States of America chapter, Comrade Manon Aleu, is also on Clubhouse, and he might be having a comment in regard to the issues that you have raised and the clarification that you made. Abraham Adit?
Okay, thank you, Brother Makur and our guest, Ayuel. Welcome to Lake State Media again. At this time, let me give this chance to Comrade Manon in Clubhouse to weigh in. Comrade Manon, if you can hear me.
Before Manon, let's give Ayuel 2 minutes to answer the criteria that they normally use at the National Secretariat, which was asked by my brother Bom, that who should appoint. Do you go for an election, or there are a group of people that always appoint you into the position? Just 2 minutes, then we go to the chairperson of SPLM chapter USA.
Yes, the criteria is the Secretary of External Affairs has power, constitutional powers to organize the SPLM diaspora. In the process of organizing, we have seen he has at some point appointed the interim chair. At some point he has given those in specific places or those he think cannot be reached by him, he gave them opportunity to organize themselves and appoint their leader or elect their leader. So I wouldn't say it is very specific because the Constitution gives him mandate to organize. He can organize through appointing the interim chair and then in the process do the election, or he can clearly come to that city and organize election for them so that they can elect one of their members.
Yeah, thank you. Abraham Adit, you can proceed with the Comrade Manon.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Comrade Manon is on the. Okay, Comrade Manon, if you can hear me, your turn now.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know, you hear me now?
Yes.
First of all, I want to greet our guest, Comrade Ayuel.
Unfortunately, I can't hear him clearly.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, for bringing him for interview.
Hold on.
Just listening.
Hang on. Let them put his earphone on.
Yeah.
Okay, what about now?
You hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
yes.
I'm just saying I want to greet the Lake State Media and also our guest, Malek. I listened a little bit about his interview, and what I know, the SPLM chapters across the globe, see 2013, a crisis, we actually experienced some defection within the SPLM chapters across the globe. And those defections create a vacuum within the leadership of the SPLM in the diaspora. And now 2000s, Paul Opang, which is the General Secretary, realized the situation and came out with the executive order from his office. And those order actually is to assign provisional leaders to take over and they were given mandate, including our office in the US. We have been given mandate, and that mandate is registrations, reorganizing the SPLM chapters, and go for the conventions to elect the leaderships. I think that's the same order that was given to East African chapters, and also go to Canada and the US and Sudan and Egypt. You know, those are the directives come from our boss. And I believe those directives are very clear. You know, when they are given, they dissolve the first office or the office that actually witnessed some defections or inactive. They dissolve it first, and then they reappoint the new leadership to take over the assignment. That's what I can say here. So I don't know from perspective of Ayuel in Canada, in Kenya, why it's become different from other places. If actually, I don't think that Cameron Paul can appoint new leadership in Kenya without leaving the old one. That the way actually procedures should go like that. And the reason is just to put the SPLM back to track. Those offices are temporary offices to restructure and reorganize and then go for a convention. And that's exactly what we are doing in the US and other places. So I don't know why it's become different things in Kenya. The structure is very clear. The issue of residency, I don't, because if we talk about residency, the first chapter leader here, representative of the SPLM in the US, which is Comrade Stephen Wendo. Stephen Wendo was not even having even Obama into residency in the US. He was coming to the Torreon for the visit around 90s, I think around 94. He was coming here for visit for Washington with the Torreon, and the Torreon decided airport that, then the Torreon decided airport that, Stephen, we're not going to take you with us. You're going to be left here in the US to become representative. And that's where his assignment started from there. So I don't know regarding if you are actually living in Canada, I mean in Kenya, and you are a student, that means you have Italian, you have residency. And there's no way you can be a student in university and you don't have residency. You know, the exceptional on the university give you a residency in that place because you are living there more than 4 years. If you are doing bachelor degree or if you are doing master degree, maybe 6 years, so you become a resident. You don't need more than some countries. You don't need more than 9 months or 3 months to become a residency in that place to do some paperwork. It's all about paperwork to become a residency. So I don't know the argument here in terms of issue of residency and non residency. I don't know. I don't know exactly what is happening here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cameroon. Ayuel, you can go ahead and answer that question.
Okay. I have not gotten his name clearly.
He is called Manon Aleu. Manon Aleu Jok.
Yeah, Manon spoke about issues that mean some procedures that has happened. But I believe those ones were communicated through a right channel. The channel it was sent to them. That's what I heard him say. Comrade Manon, this thing has not reached me because when I was assigned with the specific mandates, the way you clearly put them, to mobilize, organize, and also register our members for the SPLM convention. And the reason why it is becoming an issue is because, one, there are certain procedures that are not followed. You don't clearly need to be a permanent resident of that country, but at least you need to be there for a considerable amount of time to be a resident of that country. This comrade, when I was making my argument later on, is doing a 3-month course. So he's not a resident. And in actual sense, what we are doing, we are helping our members or our political party to make sure we address our issues so that we correctly mobilize our people. And then the second issue that is making it difficult is profiling another member to be from a different political party. So when I was appointed, I was not given those directives. I was not given those information. I was just told go and represent your chairman who is here and do this specific work, which I was doing. Actually, we launched the party and we are doing registration. But what made me more concerned is the fact that we are receiving letters which are very critical through social media, WhatsApp group. So, and there are groups also who are calling themselves acting. So there is a whole confusion in this scenario. That's why it is very difficult for us even to know where to start, because even I'm just receiving some letters now being read to me by the host, and I didn't know where they are coming from. And up to now, I don't know. If you have given somebody a mandate to go and do the work of the party, it is also right to give them information so that they can facilitate the handing over. That thing has not happened. I'm receiving WhatsApp messages, letters from WhatsApp group, and that is where the confusion is. So if it comes to my attention later on that these are the right thing and it comes from us and there are no other group claiming, then I would do what is required, because I have the property of the party. The other group do not have, and they are claiming the letter. In fact, they are the one receiving letter before I get. They are the one forwarding to me that we have been addressed this letter. So it is not my big problem, because as you know, Comrade Manon, this party is actually a party for all of us, South Sudanese. And only those who pronounce themselves not to be members of SPLM are the one we exclude. We include everyone in this political party, including we also welcome those who defected. But it is not right. You are not addressed the letters. You are given a responsibility, and then you are receiving letters in different WhatsApp groups, and also appointing a member who is not a resident of that country, and which I have demonstrated how he is not a resident. Doing a bachelor degree would be actually reasonable to consider that person as a member of that country. But Comrade Panyar is not doing. He's doing aviation management course, which is less than 6-month course. If we are truly helping our party, why would we give it to somebody who is coming to leave tomorrow? That is the question. And what happened to those who are also around? You can also appoint from them. They are competent.
Thank you. Abraham Adit.
Okay, how come Ramadan is blinking your mic? You want something to add?
Yeah, thank you, Ayuel.
Hang on. I will put on your earphone.
Yeah. I have shortage of power. That's why.
You hear me?
Yes.
Hold on.
Hang on, let him put his earphone.
Ayuel, external secretary, Ball is very organized person, and also is someone that actually have a lot of experience when it comes to administrative issue. And I work with him now for a period of time, and I think this confusion shouldn't be if you communicate directly with him through the channel of communication, because Ball communicate through the email, his own official email. That's where he communicates with the people, and chapters have to respond through that. So I believe this confusion, you just need to communicate with your boss in Juba, which is Comrade Ball Mopang, and I think the clarification will be there. Yeah. All this confusion should not be there at all. At least there is something else, but otherwise, the administrative issue that actually can be handled by external secretary office in Juba, and I believe he will handle it if the right communication channel are being conducted through him. You know, that's what I can say in my conclusion here. But I don't see the reason why there should be confusion at all in that place, because there is an external office over there who is responsible for the chapters and diaspora, and who is actually communicate through the channel that actually official channel communication, and we receive an update from him every month, every 30 days we receive an update from him. So you communicate through him. If you believe that the channel of communication that are coming to you are not correct or are not unofficial, then you communicate with your boss and get the order from him directly.
Unfortunately, my phone is going off and I can't hear him when I put it on charger. I don't think I am able to hear him. But the takeaway thing he told me is that I communicate to him through a right channel. The question is, which one is the right channel? Because the right channel is you are given a letter. I've not been given. I'm receiving letters there. Am I supposed to act on the letters which have not been served in the right channel? Because I'm receiving them in a different WhatsApp group. Even I've tried myself to reach out, although I don't know, maybe it's a network issue, but I haven't been able to clearly communicate with them. So the right channel is you are also addressed. They have my WhatsApp group. They can as well screenshot, and then we address them. We address the issues.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much to Comrade Manon. Thank you for the advice that you actually put forward to your colleague, also Comrade Ayuel Tauping. Actually, Manon was actually advising you, if possible, in case of confusion, then why don't you write straight away to the leadership and your boss, which is appointing authority, in order to iron out those administrative errors, and then you move forward as a political party. Up to this juncture, I'll give it to Abraham Adit, or if not, then you can give us your last parting shot or your last remark,
Okay.
Comrade
Thank
Ayuel.
you.
Before we end the show, we have had your phone is also going off, and the time also is not on your side and on our side too.
Thank you. What I want to say is thank you for hosting me and to also clarify. I believe the purpose of this interview was to clarify some of the confusion going around, which I have made very clear where the confusion come from. However, the issues to be addressed, we will do them in a right channel, which I told you clearly we are following, and that, in our view, will result to revocation of the letter of appointment of Comrade Panyar. This is because we believe we can only organize this party by first looking at the issues that we need to address. Second, I want also to take the advice of Comrade Manon, and I thank him for also coming in to air out most of what he thinks could be done. And I will hope this is not a major disagreement, because it is just a matter of clarifying, because there are groups calling themselves acting, I'm here acting, and that can result into total confusion. And it is my hope that one day the National Secretary of External Affairs would really find time to address these issues so that we don't have issues of the same tomorrow. Like now, what the letters I'm receiving lifting, yet I was assigned at some point. You know, those are the confusion we are facing in this chapter, and which I believe can result to misunderstanding. And I want to say, up to this part, thank you for hosting me, and have a good evening or good morning on your side.
Yeah, thank you so much, Comrade Ayuel Tauping Malek. It's good to see you and also interact with you. It has been a while since I left Kenya, and thank you for creating time to come and make some of clarification in regard to the SPLM chapter in Kenya. To our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in and listen to our guests, and also on Clubhouse. Thank you so much to the chairperson of SPLM chapter, United States of America, Comrade Manon. Thank you so much also for coming in and give your advice as needed by your colleague. That's where you can progress as the party. Thank you so much, and thanks to everybody, to Abraham Adit, who is actually controlling the show, and to the Lake State Media team, the President Isaac Tieng, the Deputy President Bolmakur, and the Information Secretary Agardeng Mobok. Thank you so much for being behind the scene and controlling our show successfully. Lastly, as a media outlet, it is our mandate to ask anybody who want to make clarification, anybody who want to pass information to South Sudanese, we really believe that South Sudanese need information currently more than ever. And for that regard, we are open to anybody to come and talk to South Sudanese in a polite, respectful manner. And we really appreciate our guest, Comrade Ayuel Tauping. Thank you so much. I yield it back to my colleague, Abraham Adit.
We Santo, Man Kolnyang, Mike, Cholgrangawan, Yupit, Luping Yarul Pandit Shet Maniel, Anaketon Niel, Jilo, Winetonador. I think a kick, Buka, the Bobaye, Anyalia, dear Kuika, Tingrin, Gemana, when I jang along, I do Kagaparandi, Madina Maja, Kubo, Makur, Kagaboli, Kuai, Tatian, Pagaridi, Kegela, Emmanuel, whenever you go, Lumier. I think a kick, Buka, the Bobaye, Anyalia, dear Kuika, Tingrin, Gemana, when I jang along, I do Kagaparandi, Madina Maja, Kubo, Makur, Kagaboli, Kuai, Tatian, Pagaridi, Kegela, Emmanuel, whenever you go, I think a kick, Buka, the Bobaye, Anyalia, dear Kuika,